Here we go. This is the smartest guys in the room. We're back. It's been a while. Hashtag Tom. I see him already. I'm happy to be here. How are you today, Tom?
Hang on a second.
No answer right off the bat. No answer.
Well, I was muting your audio because you had your sound turned up on your computer, so we were getting two streams of audio coming in. So I was just muting that real quick. So sorry about that. But anyway, good morning. Good morning. I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing lovely. So let me see here. I can't have sound turned up on my computer. That's lame of me. I'm ready. I'm ready for this today, though.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm ready to go too.
I got PSAs for you. I got questions to ask you in Tom Stoms. I'm ready to ask you all kinds of questions today, Tom. So let's get this thing started. We're gonna talk legacy of your brand, legacy of your business, impact. I think that's what it comes down to. So get us started on what you were thinking here, Tom.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think, look, I think a lot of times people sort of, I don't know, underestimate or undervalue legacy or the idea of legacy or the idea of impact for their brand or their business on a daily basis, right? I think really what should, or what I would hope would drive what you do, right? And in some cases, that's what you do professionally, the business you start, the career you pursue, et cetera. In some cases, your job is just a paycheck and you pursue other things that you're passionate about outside of that 9 to 5 or when you're clocked in at work. But I think often people, undervalue or underestimate the value of legacy or impact because it's an incredible motivator, right? It is incredibly powerful in motivating people to achieve highly, to perform well, to reach for goals that big audacious goals that otherwise would seem unattainable or unreachable, right? And I think personally for me, right, like and I've talked about it tons of times, you're probably tired of hearing me say it, but I've talked about this idea that I want to humanize the world of business through better communications, right? That's my mission. That's the goal. That's the legacy that I want to leave, right? That's the impact that I want to have on the world. It is a ridiculous goal, right? It is absurd to think that I can humanize the world of business, like that is even accomplishable, right? Because it's not. There is no way, there's no point, never going to be a point in time, like, and I say this all the time, right? There's going to be no point in time when I like kick back, put my feet up, crack a cold beer and say, that's it, business is humanized, job done, I can retire, right? It's never going to happen. But I and the people around me, and hopefully maybe some part of the world around me, will be better off for me having tried to accomplish that goal, that big audacious goal, than otherwise would be if I didn't try, right? And so that legacy, that impact is the motivation that I have to get up every day, to clock in, to sit down at my desk, to be at my desk sometimes for 12, 14 hours a day, right? Working on and furthering and pushing forward this mission of humanizing the world of business, right? And it's baby steps right now, right? Like I've not hit my stride yet, right? I have not gotten to a full run. This is not a sprint, right? Like I am just taking the steps forward that I can take. Every step is a battle right now. And it probably will be for some time to come, but that's okay, right? Because every step I take forward, I know that I'm creating a little bit of impact, that I'm furthering that legacy a little bit, right? And that I'm going to leave the world a little bit closer to the place that I want it to be, right? Or that I think it can be than it was when I found it. And so I think legacy is incredibly important. I think thinking about and envisioning the impact you want to make on the world is incredibly important. And I think it's something we should all be talking about, right? Regardless of whether you're an entrepreneur or, hey, look, your job is a paycheck to you. which is totally fine, right? Like you clock in, you do your work, you clock out, you go home, and you save your time outside of work for pursuing passions. Great. But like in your pursuit of those passions outside of work, what legacy do you want to leave? What impact do you want to create, right? Is it small? Is it for your kids, for your immediate family, right? For your loved ones, for your spouse? Or is it broader? Is it for your community, right? Is it for your state? Is it for your country? Whatever the case may be, right? But I think it's something we should all think about and we should talk about, and we shouldn't be like, I don't know, sometimes it feels weird to talk about like, oh, legacy is for like, famous people, or legacy is for like, incredibly successful people, or legacy is for like, no. We all leave a legacy, right? We all create impact. Whether it's on an individual level or on a broad social level, we all create impact. So it's something we should all think about. It's something we should talk about. And I think it's something that we should use to motivate us on a daily basis.
Tom, you're coming out on fire today, my friend, and I appreciate you. And one of the things I wanted to say to you, you helped me clarify my mission and goal. I've always been a guy that says I want to share inspiration, positivity, and smiles, and help other people do the same. I talk about that over and over. Where you really helped me, okay, well, how? And what I came up with over the last few years was developing stories that elevate humanity. So every story I'm in part of, whether it's not the smartest guys in the room, we're telling stories, whether it's a book like Sonia's or Debbie Griffiths that I see here that are raising awareness for autism awareness, helping people overcome domestic abuse. Those are all stories that elevate humanity. So that's what I choose to be around. And hopefully, when I'm off this planet, people will say, hey, I read Debbie's book because of them. I read Sonia's, this show that we found, not the smartest guys. I laughed, I smiled. So everything I try to be part of, that's what it is. And I thank you for helping me get down to that, develop stories that elevate humanity. Because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to help people tell better stories in whatever format they tell them in. So, Tom, you did a good job. Thank you. You want to hear from the group now, what they have to say?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I just want to say I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. It is, always, I think the best compliment I can ever get from someone is, is that I help them in some way, right? That's like my favorite thing in the world to hear. As you know, from like, all the emails we've traded back and forth over the years, like my signature in my email says here to help. Like, and I genuinely mean that. And it's there as a reminder to me and to everybody that I trade emails with that I am here to help. That is a goal of mine, and so there's no better compliment to me, no better affirmation than hearing that I helped, especially a good friend. So I appreciate that. Thanks for saying that.
Hey, of course we can share all this nice stuff, but later it'll be Tom's thumbs, and we'll see if we can get you worked up and PSAs. But for now, go on, Tom.
Yeah, I was gonna say never fear, right? Like, yeah, it got sappy there for a second, but like it'll be back to usual. I'm sure post haste.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, Dr. Tachi, we're talking about legacy here. Is it something you think about is in your daily life and in your work life after hours? When do you think about legacy?
It's a great question. Good morning, by the way. I do think about legacy because you want to, for me, reputation is everything. That's really what you have, right? Not all you have, but it's one of the biggest things that you have. So part of my legacy is tied with making sure that the reputation stays intact. And that's not just me, but the reputation of any ventures that I'm in, that people always know that this is a company, business, venture that changes things, that's here to help, that's here to uplift. So yeah, I often think about that, definitely.
Do you have any tips on how not to blow it, Dr. Tachi?
Yeah, damn it, just be good. It takes so much energy to do evil. It takes so much energy to intentionally blow things up and not exist for good, to help, for service. It takes a lot of energy. And I'm like, you know how they always say if you could only use your energy for good? Absolutely, because it takes a lot of energy not to do good. So, yeah, on the very simple level, just be good. But on a more complex level, I suppose, ensure that whatever you're doing is there for the betterment of something, whether it's society, whether it's a few people, because nobody's asking you to save the world, but we are asking you to do your part to make sure that the world does not implode, to make sure that the world is the better place, to make sure that there is a world for the next generation. So it's as a person that has a life in this society, it is your job and your duty to ensure better for coming generations. So whatever you do should be for the betterment of people around you and for society. Again, that doesn't mean save the entire world, but to do your part to ensure that you are a good world citizen.
Dang, Dr. Chachi. Tom, this was a good Tom told me about this topic like 2 weeks ago, and then we were off. He was off on location last week doing whatever he does, skipping out for whatever reason. So go on, Tom.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just running my business. My bad. We were on a shoot, just to be clear. But yeah, no, I love that, Dr. Taji. I mean, it seems cliche, right? And it seems kind of trite, but I think it's a very worthy goal to just try to leave the world a little bit better than how you found it, right? Like and it's something that I think often is hard to kind of keep in focus, especially for folks who are working so hard to just keep their heads above water on a daily basis, right? I mean, and Dom, I know you see this up close with the turkey giveaway that you guys do every year, that to help people make sure that they have a nice meal for Thanksgiving and the ability to have family and friends gather, right, and eat and share a meal together, which I think is a great part of your legacy. But I mean, when there's so many people that are working so hard to just keep their head above water, right? Like to just, get by. It's hard to keep sight of the idea that, or to keep in focus, in addition to all of that, that we should always try to leave the world a little bit of a better place. And I think, point really well made, Dr. Tachi. It takes just as much energy, if not more energy, right? I think it's probably more draining, right, on your psyche, on your emotional well-being to be negative than it is to be positive. And it takes the same amount of energy to do both. And the benefits of being positive far outweigh the benefits of being negative, right? Like what you get from being negative. And so instead of taking your frustrations out on other people, like go out of your way to hold a door for someone, right? Like go out of your way to just, do like sort of random acts of kindness or small kindnesses, right? Little things, say thank you, right? Tell somebody you hope they have a great day, right? Like little things like that, I think, instead of sort of getting caught up in sort of negativity and that kind of downward spiral, doing little things like that can do two things. One, it can brighten someone else's day, have a positive impact on the world around you and the people that you're interacting with, but also it helps you, right? Like don't underestimate the value of how good it feels to be nice to other people, right? Like of how good it is for you to be good to other people, right? And it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It takes the same amount, if not less energy than it does to be negative. And it has massive benefits, right? So, my friend, Will Gadara, who wrote Unreasonable Hospitality, says all the time, that it is a selfish act, right, to be generous, because being generous, being unreasonably hospitable, as Will likes to put it, is actually does actually make you feel good, right? It feels good. So it's selfish, right, to do, because it makes you feel good. You're doing it for you, but it also benefits other people, right? So it's just, I think that's a point really well made, Dr. Tachi, that idea of like, where are you spending your energy? And if your energy, the amount of sort of emotional energy that you have to interact with the world on a daily basis is kind of a finite resource, like, spend it wisely and spend it in places that benefit you and the people around you, rather than dragging everyone down. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. Debbie, what are your thoughts on legacy? How are you working to have an impact, a positive impact, or develop legacy? Do you use it as a motivator or not?
Good morning, everyone. This is a great question and a great topic. And you may not know this, but I dabble in genealogy, and I have been fascinated going back into my family history to see how people gave up everything. Some have immigrated from the potato famine. Some immigrated during the 1880s, 1890s from Germany with a lot of religious and political strife. They came basically with maybe a suitcase. And I've always been impressed at their resilience of leaving their country, leaving their language, leaving their culture, and starting new. And I think that also helped me with stepping forward and telling my story. A lot of it is about resilience. I got that resilience from my ancestors. So telling my story and now starting a podcast, future generations are going to see and hear my voice, know my story. And that's mostly for my family, future generations of my family. But I also do hope that what I write and what I say helps somebody going forward to see that red flag or think about a past trauma that may be triggering them in a way that they may recognize they should work on. So that's kind of where my goal is with leaving my legacy.
Debbie, when did you start thinking about legacy? Was it like after a big event? Was it something you've thought about for 20, 30 years? Was it always a thing?
I don't think I actually thought of it in terms of legacy. But, when I woke up in the psych ward after having attempted suicide, I had to make some decisions. And one of those decisions is, what do I want to show my kids? What do I want to show them of how to be a good mother, how to be a good person, how to get that abuse, to stop the abuse? It had to end with me. So I think that's where the turning point of leaving a legacy started for me.
That makes perfect sense, Debbie. And those changes in our lives, a great time to start thinking, well, this happened or that happened. Now it's time for me to think about what I leave behind. So thank you very much. Okay, Sonia and Brian, we are coming. But first, we're talking about doing good, legacy. We're going to help people leave a legacy here real quickly with some quick PSA announcements. We have two. Tom gives a PSA. We put him on the clock. I give a PSA, put me on the clock. So it's something that's going on in the world that we think we're trying not to just be cranky all the time. We think these PSAs could help. So Tom, you want to put yourself on the clock, and do you have a PSA for us today?
I will do. Here we go. Ready?
Okay, go for it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a public service announcement. I don't know who's teaching people to drive cars, right? I don't know if people are going to driver's ed anymore, or if parents are like dropping the ball, teaching their kids how to drive cars, or what. But cars work even if you're not pushing on one of the pedals, right? Like you don't always have to be either on the gas or on the brake. And I bring this up because traffic, I was stuck in traffic last Wednesday. When I wasn't here, I was in traffic all over the place. It took me 45 minutes to go 2 miles, and it was insane. And it was all because people don't know how to drive, and they're hitting their brakes when they don't need to hit their brakes, and they're causing traffic unnecessarily. And I hate to break it to you, public service announcement, but if you lift your foot off the gas, the car doesn't just stop, right? You don't have to touch the brakes. You can let your foot off the gas and you can just coast. Just wanted to let you know.
Tom, well done. We got some tunnels around Pittsburgh, and it's so annoying. People braking all the time for no reason. Just go. So your PSA was well received. All right, Tom, put me on the clock, if you will. I will give my PSA for today. Okay, I see 1 minute clock. Here is my PSA for today. We're talking about making the world a better place. So if you are sitting in your car and you start to roll down your window and you have something in your hand and you are considering throwing it out your window, that is a bad idea. Do not throw garbage out the window. Do not litter. Roll that window back up. Look at yourself in the mirror, the rear view mirror, and say, do better. Do not throw your garbage out the window. We only have one planet, so make it better, not worse. That's my PSA for today, Tom.
Look at you wrapping it up early. You still got 10 seconds on the clock.
Geez, I could use more time. Thought about some other example, but we got to keep this show cruising. 2 PSAs: drive better, don't throw garbage out the window. Don't ride the brake, don't throw garbage out the window.
Can I ask you a question about your PSA?
Yeah.
How do you feel about like apple cores?
I think an apple core decomposes, and I kind of think that's all right. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah, because I've always done that. Like if I'm eating it, and something that like actually happens, like I'll be eating an apple driving, and I will just roll the passenger window down and like fling it out the passenger window into the woods. And I've never thought twice about doing that. It's the only that's the only case in which I'll do that, right? Mm-hmm. Like I never throw trash out the window. I never do that. But like happily would like launch an apple core into the woods because I'm like, whatever, it's an apple. It's gonna decompose. The bugs will eat it. It's fine, right? Squirrels, maybe somebody will munch on it. Mouse, field mouse or something, you know. But anyway, yeah, I was just curious to if you were like an absolutist or if like, you know, fruit, you know, compostables were okay.
We got a comment. Dr. Tachi says it's still trash. Now, that being said, I don't want somebody else's apple core in my front yard, Tom. And if you're talking about the woods or like people that jog, this guy used to bring his dog down the street and it pooped in my yard every day. And he was like training his dogs in front of my house and it pooped my house. That was trash across the street and in my lawn. Man, I was mad at the guy. So
no, I would never throw it on somebody's lawn. I'm not talking about like going through the neighborhood and just like chucking apple cores onto people's driveways, right? Like I'm talking like the woods, right? Okay. Like not like throwing garbage on somebody's lawn. I wouldn't do that.
Since Dr. Tachi, you commented on that, if he throws it in the woods, is that all right?
Sir, it's still trash.
Oh.
It's one thing if you see with intention, and I can see the thought process there, but the thing is that you know, not everybody has the common sense so then they'll just start throwing it, and if it lands where it lands, that's fine. But if you're doing it with intention, like you get out to intentionally place it, then that's one thing. My thing is also, and I know that's the woods, but my thing is also all of that also attracts things. So that I'm not a fan of doing that.
That's fair. You know, I put my pumpkins across the road the other day, like in a field, and I was so happy to see the deer eating them, Dr. Tachi. So
Deer and what else though? Deer and what else?
But it looked so nice. I felt I was being so helpful when I broke them up. I threw them across the street. I was like, look at this. Oh, the deer seemed to be hanging out by the pumpkins. I thought it was being nice.
I mean, I also live, like, I should say, just so we're clear, like, I live in a pretty rural area. So, like, for me, like, literally, my dogs were losing their mind because they saw a deer on the hill behind our house this morning, right? And, like, we have deer, we have turkeys, we have coyotes, we have bobcats, we have raccoons, we have bears, we have all kinds of wildlife living all around us. So I'm not talking about like in a neighborhood or an urban setting. Like, I would never like walk down the street in Manhattan and just toss an apple core on the sidewalk, right? I literally mean the woods, just to be clear.
All right, here we go. The PSAs, we did good. Okay. Jimmy, you just stopped by. The two PSAs today were don't throw trash out your window, and people that drive with their feet on the brake and all that, they aren't doing any good. So we are talking about legacy. So on to you, Sonia, and then Brian. Legacy. Are we thinking about legacy? Sonia, you wrote a book, you have a podcast. Is legacy something you consider?
I absolutely do. And I want to leave the world behind with a great message and authenticity. And for me, I think what drove me to be wanting to create that kind of change and impact is basically how I grew up, being very unseen, being very unheard, being tossed to a corner and forgotten about, basically. Right. And I didn't want that for other people. I didn't want people to have to suffer the way I had to suffer. And I used the pain that I had felt growing up to make positive impact changes that I made it my mission to do that. And I feel like the best way you can leave your legacy behind is when you are authentically showing up as yourself. And when you are being true to yourself, you're not compromising any values that you don't hold just so that you can gain popularity of the masses. It's not about that, because the right kinds of people will be attracted to you and your legacy. And, it's also being comfortable with the fact that you're not going to be for everyone. And that's also okay.
Sonia, just a fabulous answer today. You're thinking about, I'm sitting here thinking about being a little Dom with teeth sticking out of his mouth and a big pot belly and playing by myself in the woods and thinking, damn, Sonia, you're doing good work. I think we've all felt left out, othered, and stuff like that. So keep up the good work. Keep giving people a voice. Well done, Sonia. All right, let's keep this rolling. Mr. Brian P. Swift, is legacy something you consider with all the work you do with SOAR and the books and the podcast and the speaking? Is legacy something you consider? Mr. Swift, let's see if he. Oh, he was here and he was gone. Okay, Tom, let's see let's see who else is here. Go on, my friend.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, yeah, he just, on my side, he just dropped down to just listening. So I don't know if there was a accidental wrong button. There we go. Brian's back.
Hey, why don't you tell people where we're at before we get to, and we're on Indie Soup now too, Tom. So why don't
That's true.
give everybody a refresher on all the places they can find Not the Smartest Guys.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, so we're live streaming, right? As always, we're live streaming across the internet. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitch. But then, if you missed the live, we're on TikTok, on Dom's TikTok, and on Dom's YouTube as well. But if you missed the live stream, if you're not around on Wednesday mornings, totally get it. You can always catch us on Indie Soup Media's YouTube channel, where you can catch old episodes and new episodes as they come out, and catch a lot of other great content there as well. So yeah, so that's where we are right? It's kind of more like where we aren't is probably the shorter list. We're all over the place, but yeah, that's what we got. And then yeah, should we give? Let's see if Swifty's ready to chime in. What do you think?
All right, let's do it. Brian, legacy, what you got?
I am good to go. Thank you. Yes, legacy is important. I learned it young when my dad really was. He really enforced the fact that his name meant a lot, and how his father and him, and through history they have, from what he knew, they have always been kind of stand-up people that did what was right and had a lot of integrity. So growing up as a kid, I remember him saying, don't kind of smear the Swift name. It's taken a lot of work to, get it to where it's at. And then I think even more importantly, once I had kids, I think it meant it really hit home, and you really understood it, because I believe that, and somebody mentioned earlier, I don't know if Tom, I think you did, with parents teaching their kids how to drive. I think the biggest impact we can have with leaving the world a better place is bringing our kids up the right way, the best we can, to even be better than we were. So I know for me, getting up every day and showing them that no matter what the circumstances are, that you could get up with a smile, and that you can make a positive impact, and that is a choice. And I've passed that on, that I've worked extremely hard to be a positive impact, not just as a person, but also to try to impact the world as they see somebody in a wheelchair. So as somebody with a disability, I always felt this extra, I don't want to call it burden, but it was an extra weight maybe of showing people that people with disabilities can get up every day, could go to work every day, can function every day, to be happy every day, can make a difference every day. So yes, legacy is extremely important.
Well done, Mr. Swift. And I've spent some time with Brian and his family and his kids, and the respect and admiration they have for him, and the way they help his mom, and are so kind to everybody. You can tell that Brian's raised him right. So kudos to you, Mr. Brian P. Swift. You're doing a good job. And on that note, Tom, it is that time of the show. It's 10 something. So here we go. Debbie says she's leaving. You don't leave yet, because it is time for Tom's Thumbs. This is where we ask Tom something going on in the media or pop culture, and he has to give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down on it. So Tom, this is complex today. Tom, what do you think about the public's admiration, obsession with Luigi Mangione?
All right. So here's how I'm just gonna be clear here, right? Because I think it's important that I parse this up top. I am going to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the public's reaction to Luigi Mangione, not to Luigi Mangione or to the actions he's accused of or the crimes he's accused of. All right, just so we're clear. So don't come after me for for regardless of what I say after this, don't come at me. I don't want to hear it. I'm talking about the public's reaction to him, not what he's accused of doing. All right, so we're good. Everybody clear, right? No confusion. Great, thank you. So, I'm unsurprised by the public's reaction, in that it has been completely polarized, right? And that does not surprise me. it does not surprise me that some people have applauded Luigi Mangione and sort of held him up as a hero and a sort of a martyr, right? And it also doesn't surprise me that other people have condemned him and held him up as an example of everything that's wrong in the world, right? Here's I mean, I don't know. So here's my take on it. I think the thing that is the most telling is that it is difficult to do two things, right? To simultaneously, like it's almost sort of impossible to hold two beliefs simultaneously in sort of pop culture these days, right? Because everything has to be sort of polarized or black and white or up or down or whatever, right? But I think it's important to both condemn the actions that he is accused of taking if he did murder the United Healthcare CEO as he's accused of doing. That's a horrible thing to do. That is absolutely unequivocally awful. Nobody should be murdered, regardless of whether or not you believe in or support their actions or their behavior as a CEO of a company, whatever. None of that warrants a death sentence, right? So no action that I think Brian Thompson, I think was the man's name, no action that he took warrants a death sentence, right? And on the other side of that, I can also simultaneously understand what would motivate someone to take such extreme action, right? That we have kind of gotten to a place in our culture and our society where we have so normalized, our for-profit healthcare system and the ability of people with profit motives to decide healthcare outcomes for individuals and their families, make decisions that have massive impacts on people and their lives and their well-being, right? That we've so normalized that idea that it's okay to deny someone care that they desperately need if it makes you more money, right? That is also awful, right? And needs to be fixed. Like, I can hold both of those ideas simultaneously. So my overall reaction or my thinking on the public reaction to Luigi Mangione gets a big thumbs down, because I think that we are kind of missing the plot here, right? The idea that you cannot hold those two ideas simultaneously is a fallacy, right? Is a false choice. You can both understand, right? And agree that we need to change our healthcare system and the way that we can use profit motivation to determine health outcomes for people, which is insane, right? Like, that's just crazy on its surface. And simultaneously condemn the murder of someone who is a CEO of one of the country's largest health insurers, right? Like, you can do both of those things simultaneously. It's a false choice to say that you can't. And because of that, because it perpetuates that idea of false choice, right? That everything has to be either black or white, right? For those reasons, right? For that reason, I give the public's reaction a thumbs down.
Well done, Tom. That was a tough Tom's thumbs today, but you had a very cogent answer, as you taught me about cogent argument too. So well done. Good job all around.
Yeah, that was a challenging one, because there's like, I felt like I was threading a needle a little bit there. And also it's like, it's a tough thing, because it's like, all right, like, there's been the public's reaction has been, kind of a wide spectrum of reactions, right? Like, from one side, kind of, again, like I said, like, holding him up as a hero, and the other side holding him up as a villain. And it's sort of like, well, those are opposites. Like, how do I react? How do I give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to two things that are opposite, right? So yeah, it was challenging for sure.
Well done. We are talking legacy here on Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. So next week, your Tom Stums is going to be easy. I have a whiteboard that I look at over here, and that's me pointing the opposite side of the room, and I see it. We are going a complete different direction in 7 days. So that's what you get today. Okay, we're talking legacy today. We're going to come back around the room here for some tips, some thoughts on legacy. I wanted to give you this as a business owner in publishing. You know, I'm in storytelling, I'm in publishing. I sometimes people come to me and they've done bad things in their past. They've done maybe they were in accidents, maybe they drank too much, maybe they whatever they did in the past. When they come to me, when I read these books, one of my things when we talk about legacy going forward, are they accountable for their actions, whatever that may be? And are they accountable for this moment, this lapse of judgment, whatever happened? Are they upfront about it? I do not work with people who are not upfront about big things. So all of a sudden, somebody comes and tells a story, and then you find out there's more to the story. And I'm like, wait a minute. So you're actually not a good person. You're not accountable for this, and you're trying to blame it on somebody else. I don't, when I say stories that elevate humanity, I'm not sure their story when they're not part of elevating humanity is being true, being accountable, being a stand-up person. So sometimes I look at those stories and I do some more research and I'm like, wait a minute, you're blaming this person. Wait a minute, you're not taking responsibility. And that's a point where, in lieu of income, that I have to suggest that they go elsewhere, Tom. So are there ever times where you run across something that you're like, this doesn't meet my values and I can't be part of this?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think, yeah, it's important, again, in sort of, furthering legacy, right? And helping, helping people, improve the world that we're all a part of, that we adhere to our values, right? I don't think a value is a value if it's, if it only applies some of the time, right? Like, I think a value is a value when it applies all the time. And, if you want to make the world a better place, if you want to improve the lives of people, if, as you say all the time, if you want to spread positivity and smiles, right? Then that's a value that you cannot apply only when it's convenient, right? You have to apply values when it is inconvenient to apply them as well. And sometimes it's inconvenient, like when you have to leave money on the table or walk away from a business opportunity because your values don't align or because you would have to compromise your values in order to participate in that deal. So I absolutely understand where you're coming from with that. And I run across it, right? I have people who, I've had conversations with people where they want to create content that is misleading, that is manipulative, right? That is that over promises and under delivers, right? Or makes promises I know that they have no intention of keeping, and I won't do it, right? Like, I just won't be a party to it. At the end of the day, I believe absolutely that if you lead with your values, then you will find like-minded people, right? You will engage in relationships with those like-minded people. Those relationships will lead to business, either directly or indirectly, and then ultimately, like, the money will follow, right? So I always. And a lot of people in business would probably tell me I'm doing it wrong. I tell people all the time I'm not a business genius, right? But at the end of the day, like, values come first, right? Money will happen, right? Like, money will come if I do good work and I adhere to my values. But if people know that I am available to to compromise my values if they cut me a check, right? Then like all of a sudden I'm going to be hemorrhaging clients, right? Because they're not going to want to work with me, because they're not going to want to work with somebody who doesn't actually hold any values, who just, you know, goes where the money is, right? So yeah, so I think at the end of the day, it's incredibly important to hold your values. And yeah, a value is only a value if it applies all the time, even when it's inconvenient, right? So yeah, I definitely agree with you. I mean, I think, you know, I'd be curious to hear, you know, what Dr. Tachi and Sonia and Brian think about that too. I mean, like, you know, do you talking about legacy, is that part of your legacy, right? Do you consider your values and the work that you do as an extension of those values part of your legacy? So, Dr. Tachi, we'll go to you first.
Thank you. I was waiting for you to call on us. Yes, definitely. I think so. I think that the things that I value, I consider them as part of that. Going back to the thing of just be good before, that's a part of something that I really value. And so I do consider that to be part of the legacy. And that's what I want people to say, that you know, honestly, that I was a good person.
Right on, Dr. Tachi. Isn't that what really matters at the end of the day? Like say, like on your deathbed, that people don't say, "I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that." They're like, I want my family beside me." How are they beside you? And because you were a good person, they're good people. So well done. Okay, so we're continuing to Sonia. Same question. Tom, you want to clarify your question?
I mean, yeah, I sure. Yeah. So Sonia, I mean, do you consider your values and the work that you do as an extension of those values part of your legacy? And are you willing to, or have you had the experience of having to walk away from a business opportunity or walk away from a deal because you wanted to adhere to those values and to sort of, you know, by extension, I guess, maintain that legacy?
Well, I'm a therapist by profession, and I feel like helping people is also part and parcel to the values I hold, that I wanted to help others. And as far as turning away business opportunities and things, I've been let go from practices before because of, well, few years ago, there was one practice in particular that I got let go from. Another one I just quit because it wasn't the right fit for me. But the one practice I got let go from, it was because they kept monitoring how many. It was more about the vanity metrics of numbers you can attain. And even though I had some very consistent clients, it wasn't to their standard of what they wanted to see. And at the end of the day, because mental health is a business after all. So they let me go. But then another one I voluntarily, and even though it was not easy for me to do because I don't like confrontation or anything, I just knew I had to quit because they kind of were forcing me to be a certain way. And I feel like if you're a therapist, you need to be your own way. And they wanted it to be very corporate, like, you know, follow the rules, act in a standard manner. And that wasn't for me. And so I quit that job. And so, I mean, there were times I've had to walk away. There were definitely times people have let me go because it just didn't align.
Well done, Sonia. Keep up the good work. I want to go this direction with my friend Brian P. Swift. Brian, same question, legacy, but are there ever people that you have to walk away from because you're like, that's a bad dude, you know, or there's something about them that's rubbing me the wrong way? Does that ever happen to you?
Absolutely. And you were reading my mind. You know, it's not just values, it's morals and non-negotiables. And if you don't have those in your life, I believe it's hard to be consistent and to create legacy. So part of that is learning to walk away from those people that bleed you. People do two things: they either feed you or they bleed you. And you have to teach your kids, it's especially at that middle, that teen years, to learn to walk away from those people that are going to bleed them in a bad way. And that's where it starts. I mean, you don't start teaching morals and values to your children at 20 or 15. And I think that's a problem that's happening. You start when they're young, in teaching them the right way and teaching them values and morals and principles and non-negotiables. And walking away from people, as hard as it might be, is part of staying true to your value and moral system. So yes, I have, and I think everybody here probably has taken people out of their lives because they're bleeding them and not feeding them. So you do what you have to do. It's not always easy. Just as Dr. Tachi said, just be nice, and I'll say, just be a good person. Just be nice. And I don't know if it was a generation thing. Tom, you had mentioned earlier, like, go out of your way to hold the door. Years ago, I mean, I never looked at it as going out of your way. You just held the door for somebody. If you grew up in the city and rode the bus, you gave up your seat for a woman, whether she was elderly or not. Even if you were in an event and people were standing, it was the guys that should be standing, not the women or whatnot. It just was part of, it was woven into society, these niceties that you just did. And it wasn't a burden, or it wasn't going out of your way. It was just stuff you did because it was the right thing to do. And we need to get back to some of those little things of the right way to do, but they've got to be taught by parents. It's not the school's responsibility. It's not coach's responsibility. It is the parents' responsibility. And that's where we see a major downfall in society, is so many kids being either brought up without parents or brought up by kids who had kids very young. And I don't know. I'm not sure how we fix that, but we definitely need to get back to it.
I mean, I think, Brian, I would call back to, when you were saying it a minute ago, just, kind of echoing Dr. Tachi, right? Just be nice. Just be nice. I think that's, that's a good way to think about it, a good way to approach it. And I would argue a good segue, speaking of being nice, Dom, why don't you be nice to us and take us on a trip down memory lane real quick? What have you got for us this week?
I will do that, Tom. And like we said, we ask you hard questions, and then memory lane is sappy and nice, and I get to play the good guy, and you're the bad, and you're the heel. So today, for memory lane today, I wanted to show you two of my Pittsburgh Pirate figurines. This is Andy Van Slyke. Where is he? This is Andy Van Slyke. He's sliding into the base. And this is Bobby Bonilla. Bobby Bonilla had a big smile, and now there's Bobby Bonilla Day from a big contract he got. But the reason I show you these two things today, I loved the Pirates in my youth. I was 13, 14. We were about to go to the World Series. We didn't go to many games because my dad worked, but he took me to a bunch of playoff games, and we were living high on like the energy in the city, and my love for baseball, my love for Bobby Bonilla and Andy Van Slyke. I had a Bobby Bonilla bat. I cried one day when I broke it. Now, the Pirates have the best pitcher in baseball right now. He won the Cy Young Award. His name is Paul Skeens. The city has a little bit of a buzz right now. It's been 30 years. There's a little bit of a buzz. The Pirates are saying they might spend some money again this year. Paul Skeens has a celebrity girlfriend. It's a fun time. So my memory lane is also kind of a PSA. I want to get to this point. Pirates, don't break my heart again. You broke it once. I can't handle it again. You say you're going to spend. Please help us be competitive. I want the little ones in the community to hold figures like this and love their Pirates like I once did. Don't break my heart again. That's today's PSA.
So yeah, I was gonna say it was a little bit of it went into a PSA towards the end there, but it's
I knew it.
yeah. But basically, what you're saying is, hey, pirates, don't screw it up.
Please, there's hope.
Kind of got a little bit of a good thing going. Like, do not screw it up, right?
I can't trust them though. 30 and people don't care. We've lost. I know people don't care, but I care. 30 years of losing. I can't take it. I need to win again. I'm heartbroken here, Tom. All right. This has been not the smartest guys in the room. We're talking legacy. Tom, it's that time. I think you owe us a wrap up. We talked Luis Mangione. We talked legacy. We talked PSAs. We talked memory lane. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna keep it really simple, keep it really short and sweet. I think, you know, at the end of the day, this popped into my head earlier as we were talking, right? This is not something I was thinking about, but it just popped into my head while we were talking during the show today, and talking about legacy. And it occurred to me that, you know, there's this common saying, right? The internet is forever, right? Like once something is online, it's permanent, right? It is forever. And it got me thinking, hey, look, we've been doing, you know, not the smartest guys in the room for quite a while. I mean, we've been doing this live stream thing even before it was called not the smartest guys in the room, right? We were doing this thing that ultimately we put a name on, you know, we gave a moniker to, and we're starting to distribute across multiple channels, not just doing the live stream, but also working with Indie Soup Media, you know, to get it out to more folks. And it occurred to me that what we're doing here right now is legacy building, right? Like what we do every Wednesday, the conversations we have, for better or worse, the Tom's Thumbs, right? But the PSAs, the conversations we have, the topics that we talk about, and the input that we get from our community is all legacy building, right? And my sincere hope, genuinely, my sincere hope is that at the end of all of this, right, when not the smartest guys in the room is a memory, right, and not a current event, and you know, maybe after I've shuffled off this mortal coil, as Shakespeare so eloquently said, that maybe you know, what we've done here with this show and with you lovely folks who are a part of it and the community that we've built is put a little positivity into the world, and maybe just left something nice. So anyway, that's all I got for today. I appreciate you guys as always. We appreciate you guys being here with us at Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. You are the reason why we do this every week. We appreciate you. We love you. For Dom, I'm Tom. We are not the smartest guys in the room. We love you. We thank you. And we will see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.